All right. So today is the Q&A. Okay, let's go to the some of the questions that we have. And also, I think that tonight we don't have many questions, and if you want to write down any questions in the chat or even on the mic, then you can do so. After we finish the first two questions or three questions. All right, let's go. Okay. All right, can y'all see? Okay, good. So this is question one. It's a bit vague. According to this book in page 80, it says to live or to die is of equal value. Could Bhante please comment on this? To live or die is of equal value. Would that mean there is no striving to live anymore? Thank you. When I look at this question, when it was given to me in this way, then I've seen this book before every now and then, but I don't have it in my library. So I have to, in a way, download it from the internet. But this passage here, the question here asks, the questions here it asks, it's connected to the Buddha and the Arahants. They're connected to the Buddha and the Arahants. Therefore, it is good that for now, we have to go to that particular passage to understand what is the meaning of this, to understand what is the meaning of the question, then only we can have a clearer idea of what is the question meant. But there will be a little bit of reading because the passage is, it's a paragraph, but it's a bit long. So I go to the next, this one for you to this one. Hopefully they all can put in everything. All right. Okay. The Buddha and all the other Arahants were completely free of desire, yet succeeded in doing many things far more useful than what any of us are capable of. If we look at accounts of how the Buddha spent his days, we find that he slept only 4 hours and spent all the rest of the time working. We spend more than 4 hours a day just amusing ourselves. If the defilements responsible for the desire to be and to get things had been completely eliminated, what was the force that motivated the Buddha and all the Arahants to do all this? They were motivated by discrimination. And here the word here, the wisdom here, I'm the one who put it inside there. The meaning is actually wisdom, coupled with goodwill or metta. Even actions based on natural body ones, such as receiving and eating alms food, were motivated by discrimination. They were free of defilements, free of all desire to keep on living in order to be this or to get that. But it did have the ability to discriminate between what was worthwhile and what was not for the motivating force that sent the bodies out to find food. If they found food, well and good. If not, never mind. When they are suffering with fever, they knew how to treat it and did so as well as possible on the basis of this knowledge. If the fever was quite overpowering and they were not strong, they recall that to die is natural. So whatever they lived or died was no significance to them. They were of equal value in their eyes. So this is the meaning. This is the passage of what the questioner trying to ask about. Of they live or died of equal value. So let us comment a little bit on this, since the question is asked based on these things. Now here. We are talking about the Buddha and the Arahants. Uh, First of all, when we look into this, then we have to realize that one thing is that they are without desire, whether the sensual desire or any form of craving to be or not to be. To be means to have an eternal or rebirth and so on, and they don't have all those type of desire. So this is, first of all, we have important for us to understand. Secondly, is that arahants, they are, in a way, they have certain degree of strong wisdom, strong, clear wisdom. And that will detect how their life, what they do and what they will not do. Sometimes for us, we may find strange why he do this or why he or she don't do that. So because it's not motivated by the worldliness. The Buddha says this: Buddha and the Buddha and the Arahants, they are what we call done what has to be done. Done what has to be done. There's no coming back to be. That means they have done their work, their spiritual work, and they don't have to do any more further. Doesn't mean that they don't meditate. They still meditate. Even for the Buddha, we can see that from the accounts of the suttas, he still go for a retreat, Buddha. 2 weeks or 3 months retreat. Even he's a Buddha. And here we are, not even here or there. We ask you to go to retreat. We don't want to go. So even the Buddha and the Arahants, they still go for their own retreat, even they have already done what has been done. So for their purpose is to have that peaceful mental state, a peaceful state of mind. Then you may think that, become an Arahant Buddha, they are not peaceful all the time, man. The Buddha has to work, the Arahant has to work, and so on. So they may not able to so-called enjoy, with an inverted comma, able to have that enjoyment of the peace of Nibbana or the peace of jhana. If they have a lot of duties, responsibility, teaching others, and so on. So they have a certain degree of peacefulness, but they don't have the degree of meditative peacefulness. So they still need to go to a retreat in order to have that meditative type of peace. So the Arahants, the Buddha also still need to do those things. Now, when they are free from this craving, in other words also, they are free from fear. Free from fear, that means in the sense that they are not afraid to die, and they are also not afraid to live. Sometimes there are people who are afraid of living because there are so many problems around us, and when we cannot able to resolve them, we see no light at the end of the tunnel. Everything is so dark, then we commit suicide because we cannot take the life anymore. What we are going through. So you take a commit suicide or run away and so on. So they have, in a way, fear of living. Of course, for many of us, the opposite of fear of dying. Fear of dying in the sense that we're afraid of how we're going to die, and we do all kinds of things in order for us to, as if like sometimes we do not want to die. Especially like Chinese. Chinese, when they talk about death, it's a kind of like it's a very terrible thing for majority. For those who are in the Buddhism and you are more inclined into Buddhism, we talk about death all the time. But for Chinese, especially, they don't like to talk about death. It's a very taboo subject. So here, we when we talk about life and death, there's a lot of fear behind it. So when there's a lot of fear behind it, when you fear of something, you want to attach of something else. If you have fear of dying, you attach of life, you attach to the life, you cling on to the life. Your clinging may be due to your family, due to your wealth, due to your youthfulness. You thought that because you're youth, and then here I'm dying. How could this be, and so on. Then you attachment to all these things. Then they're afraid of dying. So all of us have, when we have this craving and fear behind it, we don't realize that how much of this attachment is so strong beneath it. In the front of it, we thought that we are happy, we are okay, we are this and we are that. But really, when it comes to really the death, although we say that we contemplate on death a lot and so on, but when it comes, you see that there's a certain degree of fear is there. Perhaps maybe it becomes less because of the reflection that we go through our lives about death and so on. Then maybe have less, but still there. You cannot compare it with a Buddha and the Arahants. When it comes to the Buddha and the Arahants, just because that they have done what has to be done, then they say that what they don't think in this way. Why should I live any more longer? Might as well I take my life and die. After all, if I die, if I take my life, there's no breaking of any precept. But they don't do that. Doesn't mean that they don't die. Doesn't mean they don't attach to their lives. That doesn't mean that they attach to their life, because after all, everything has to be done. All the practice has to be done. It has already been done. So the Buddha and the Arahants doesn't just take their life because all these things. While they are still living, they're still living like the Buddha. Now, in the case of the Buddha, his duty is to impart the Dhamma to beings, as many as we can, as he can in his years of when he's living. That is to say, not just human beings, but also towards the devas and brahmas, and even a part of the animals kingdom too. So they impart, his duty is to do that. He signed up for it. In a way, become a Buddha, you kind of like sign up for all these things. It comes with enlightenment, yes, but it also comes with imparting the Dhamma. But whereas for an Arahant, although he has already eradicated all the defilements, not Arahants can teach. Not all Arahants can teach. What you read in the suttas, some of the Arahants, they could teach, like the Buddha, like Venerable Sariputta or Moggallana and many others, they can teach. But not all Arahants can able to teach. They are enlightened in a way, but they are not capable of teaching. So not all Arahants not all Arahants are bound to teach. It's not part of the contract. Because they are not inclined to do so. So sometimes devotees may think that how come not all monks are teaching? How come all monks are, they know how to practice and practice and practice, and how come they are not able to teach? Because teaching is another skill altogether. And practicing is another skill altogether. So not easy to find both comes together. Those who are meditating, practicing, or enlightened, then they're able to teach. Not easy to find. There are, of course, they're still around, but they are not easy to find. Some people, some monks or nuns, they are good in talking, good in Dharma talks and all that. But when it comes into the practice, they are not capable. So therefore, the Buddha and the Arahants, they have, in a way, they eradicate the defilements. But when it comes to their teaching and all that, not really so. But then they go on living their life. And when they go on living their life, they live the life without the fear. Not fear of living, without the fear of even dying. So when it comes to, like, for example, unforeseen sickness or unforeseen sickness, and they are face to face with death. The Arahants also, they are subjected to their karma. And sometimes their karma of their past, it can be called a destructive karma. It destruct, that means that all the life that is going through, and then it stops. A certain past life karma, it stops that particular karma, and it takes the Arahant's life also. So don't underestimate this karma. It still works. But even then, for that type of death is suddenly, comes in, like a heart attack, for example, if it's the Arahant go through a heart attack and suddenly he is out of breath and he dies, at that time, even when it comes to the death, the mind is without fear. For us, without the Arahantship and without, then after that we want to die. See lah, this and that go. All my asset, I haven't paid my will yet. I haven't said goodbye to all my family member. How like that? Then a lot of fear. A lot of things will go through for all of us. For them, there's nothing to hold on anymore. So when it comes to death, we are equally open about that. They are equally open, whether it is life or this is death, because of without the craving is there. So for us, it will be good that every now and then we reflect on death. Every now and then, even if you are young, even if you are in your 20s, even in your 30s, 40s, what more when you are in the 60s, 70, 80, 90, and so on, then it will be good that if you reflect on death frequently, it will help us to reduce that fear. It will help us to reduce that fear. So that time when the time comes when for you to die, then you don't have to have so much worry. Then if you don't have so much worry, perhaps next life will be a better rebirth. If you have attached to all your belongings and all your family members, and you're attached to all your bank account or your shares not disposed, this and that, how come I in such a youthful life, everything is right in front of me, and here I am down with sickness, down with heart attack, down with stroke or whatever, and then therefore, so that one we have to consider it well. So we have to consider well that our life anytime can go. So when we do that, we reduce our fear. So this is what it means on the question here. To live and die is of equal value because they don't have attachment, they don't have fear of living or even dying. All right. Okay. This Buddhadasa is a this Buddhadasa, he stayed in Swan Mok in Surat Thani, I think, in Thailand. Passed away a long time ago, I think. A long time ago. Yeah. Okay. Next question. All right. As I said, if you have any question, then you can write down in this one, in the chat. So, question 2. What is the meaning of habitual karma? How to apply to our practice? Thanks. Now, last week the question is, what is the habitual karma? So that we can become, in next life, we can become a monk and attain the arahantship. So here is just what is the habitual karma. Okay. So what is habitual karma? Now let's look into the word karma first. Now karma, when it says karma, it means that it is it's action from physical action, speech, and our thoughts. And behind it is usually what we call the intentional action, intentional speech, intentional thoughts. Although we use the word intentional, but most of the time we don't see the intention. We thought that we just talk or we just act out of habit. But no, actually behind all that there is an intention. Just like on Wednesday, when we talk about the nature of the intention, you will see that every movement of your hand, every speech that you're going to speak out, you're going to open your mouth, and also whatever thoughts that is coming through, there's always intentional is there. The intention is there. Even you kill a mosquito without intention, although you say that you don't have any karma. Yes, you don't have any karma because that you don't have intention to kill, but there's still an intention of moving the hand there. Although you may not have a karma, but there's still an intention of moving of the hands. So karma is this. Although we say that it is by action, speech, and mind, but behind it is still got intentions. Although sometimes we use the word intentional actions, intentional speech, intentional thought, but for most of the time, as I said, y'all cannot see the nature of the intention unless you begin to practice into vipassana. Okay, so that is the part of not finish it. On the karma side, again here, you have effects. That means you will have its effect. Whether the effect is going to ripen or not, that is another thing altogether. Some effects may not ripen. It may not ripen, that means it's totally finished. It will not ripen anymore in the future. Sometimes effects take place even in this life, and it continues even into the next life and the future lives. Some effects just take place in the next life, then it may not continue in the future life. Some effects will take place after the next life. That means it's a subsequent lives. Then we do not know when it's going to arise. Some effects just this life, it take place. Next life, it doesn't take place anymore. Yeah. So if this life it doesn't arise, that means it becomes defunct. That means it will not able to come up according to the nature of the karma. Yeah? But the thing is that with this karma, as it takes effects, we really do not know which one is which, And sometimes, in a certain action that ours, a single action of ours, may have how the priority of the effect will take place in a single action. We thought that we are doing a single action. Supposing you kill a mosquito again, let's say, take this within that you killing this mosquito, your mind is already create unwholesome karma. Then when your action as you are doing it, it's create another karma. Then you speak out. You say, this terrible mosquito will come and disturb me all the time. Pia. It's another karma. So with all this multiple of karma is taking place, and then to further the karma again, to further the effects of the karma, then that thinking of yours, that particular thinking of yours, it also comes with multiple intentions, not just a single intention inside there when you're thinking of killing a mosquito. So multiple intentions are also inside there. It means when it multiple intentions inside there, that means there's multiple effects is going to take place just on the mental, just on the thoughts itself. So even if in the thoughts itself, right now is that when you are in the thoughts itself, that means there will be some may take place in this life, some may take effect in this life, some of the intention may take effect in the next life, and some of the intention may take effect in the subsequent life. So you do not know when even that single thought of yours is going to take effect. So don't underestimate our karma, our action just by that thought. What more when it comes to speech again? What more you come into action? You come into the actual action again. So there's multiple ways that how it's going to take effect. We really do not know, because how the mind works, we really do not know how exactly when it's going to take effect. Abhidhamma tells you, okay, how many jhana, this jhana, that jhana. But the thing is that the mind is moving so fast. Okay? Now, sometimes out of ignorance, sometimes we say, now especially when you're suffering. Especially when you're suffering in the everyday life. Then you're suffering, then you say, and then I burn out all my karma, let the karma all finish. Then after that, after that, next time I don't have any more debt to him or to her anymore. As if we can calculate our karma, how much debt we are owed to that person or owed to that company or owed to the situation, and then we are because we are suffering there. We thought that, okay, never mind, we just suffer it through for now. We suffer it through for now. Let's finish our karma. Especially sometimes you married with somebody that you really hate after a while, and then you say, and then you have this thought, thought that you want to finish the karma, or you connected with some unpleasant things. Truly, we do not know when it's going to finish, because and then there's another thing for Buddhists when it comes to karma thing, effects, especially effects. We thought that okay, this person has suffered maybe cancer for 20 over years, and then suffering, and then every time we see him or see her, it's getting thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner, and every time we got all the suffering for 20 years. And then here now, this person is on the verge of dying and perhaps maybe dead. So then dying already, dead already, then we say, he's free or she is free from all the suffering already, Hopefully next life he will be in the happy plains. And especially if those people that we love and we connect, we have a lot of connection to, maybe our parents, maybe our mother or father. We want to believe that they are reborn in the better planes of existence. We want to believe that, we want to hope that sometimes we want to hope, also we want to believe that already, rather than just hope. So, sometimes we have to realize that we really do not know where they are reborn. We thought that because that we see their suffering so much, and then when they're free of that suffering, we thought that by dying, everything is free. But if those people who can able to see the next life, those with divine eye, then if you happen to see that the parents or the mother or father reborn in the hell planes, reborn in the animal kingdom, then the one who can able to see those things, then he begin to think then that the suffering of the cancer for 20 over years, it's like a holiday. It's still a very good holiday compared with the coming to the next life when he's reborn in the hell and so on, in animal kingdom. Because most of us, our vision is so narrow. Our sight is so narrow. We see in this life, this death, that's it. And then we thought that the next life is everything must be cozy and nice. But we forget that sometimes, although as much as we do a lot of good deeds here, there are also a lot of unwholesome deeds that are waiting for us in this life, from this life, and also from the past life. And it will determine the next life too. So sometimes we have to be more open about death. Sometimes we really do not know how death will take place and where it will go. So this is something I want to this one. So now the thing is habitual. Habitual karma. Here the word habitual, just like the word signify, that means you do it repeatedly again and again. It may be a thought again, it may be your speech, and it may be your actions. Then there are wholesome and unwholesome ones, and also kind of like neutral ones. Doesn't really wholesome and unwholesome. That also can become your habitual karma too. Bad habitual karma. Sometimes these bad habitual tendencies of ours is that sometimes when you meet with some people, some rough people, every 2 or 3 words coming out from their mouth is a harsh words. It's a very rough words. Every few words that come out is those words. It's very jarring, Now, if you are in that group of people, or if once upon a time you are like that, then you find that every few words that you open up your mouth is all the bad words, all the terrible words. If you mix with rough people, then you have a lot of rough speech here. So these are habitual. Yes, these are habitual because it's repeated again and again, very frequently. Now, if you are doing a lot of dana, and habitual to you means that not just only every day, but every occasion when you find that you have a opportunity for you to do dana, whether it's dana to the monks or not, or to the sangha, and dana to the poor or to the destitute, you have the heart of generosity, and you want to offer, you want to do your best, you want to spend your time, you want to make your effort to give all these things. So you do it. That is habitual in that sense. But the one that comes with the thinking one, it's a little bit more difficult to see because it's a habit. One of the things that I've noticed that when you tend to look into wrong view, your tendency will always go towards the wrong view. That when you want to think about things is wrong and things is not right, and common sense, even logical thinking, if you don't have that wisdom to repeat it again and again, then there will be always the tendency going into thinking of all kinds of wrong things. Sometimes, for example, we read also, although monks don't supposed to read all these politic things, but nevertheless, sometimes certain politicians' stupidity is repeated again and again. If you speak one time a stupid thing, a foolish thing, then one time maybe we ignore you. But kind of like you repeat it again and again and again and again and again and again and again. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense. How come they keep on having this type of thoughts? And you can see it on all over the world, not just in here in Malaysia, but all over the world, every country, you have this type of politicians. But not only that, sometimes, they are politicians, they are news, and there are certain news, they are biased to certain things, they are always biased to that things that is wrong. It is for the harm of other people, you don't lift up humanity instead of talking about all kinds of terrible things, hurt people, and they are in the politician, they are supposed to make all these laws and so on, But then, so this is a kind of habitual thinking. They repeatedly, they will do all these things. And of course, it comes out in their mouth, in their action, because they think it in such a way. So too, it's good that for us to notice our habitual thinking. Take, for example, if you are a Vipassana meditator, if you're a Vipassana meditator, this is where you can know a lot of your mental habits. How usually you think and how you will direct your mind towards something. And this one, usually when we say is that your restless mind, because this is one of the things is that when your restless mind is when you think and you think and you think again and again and again. And sometimes when we think a lot, we think of a certain theme, a certain subject, a certain theme, and it recurs upon that. Although our during in the Vipassana, we ask the yogi, hey, you don't go inside your story. You go into a story, that means you're going to drown into your story, and then your mindfulness is going to cut off and it's going to break. There won't be any continuous mindfulness. I said, usually you stand outside there, you pay attention to your thoughts. But nevertheless, as a Vipassana meditator, when you begin to meditate quite a lot, you also will see how your thoughts is happening inside there. What type of thoughts is occurring frequently? If you are meditating, let's say, if you are meditating, every now and then, your family images come out, or you're connected to your family. Oh, I meditated today. Oh, I didn't see my wife. Oh, I didn't see my husband. I wonder what is he doing there. Oh, I didn't see my son. Whether he's doing whether he's working or whether he's studying or what is he doing there? What is she doing there right now? Or children, You are your mentality, your thoughts is like directly again and again towards that sort of subject or on your family. So this is one thing. Then you begin to understand how your everyday habit is so much connected to your family. And then we attach because of the mind habitually going into them. Okay, this is how we discover. Another thing that sometimes yogis also will see once in a while is their own ego. How they self-think about themselves. How they are. Sometimes. Sometimes when you are in a meditating, then all kinds of hallucination. Your mind can create stories. Your mind can create some adventures inside there. And then sometimes as if you are the hero is coming to save the day. You imagine all kinds of situation that, you are suddenly in a terrible situation, an accident and all that, and then you are there, and then here you are the hero is trying to save some people out of the burning car. All you imagine, everything is about yourself. Everything is about yourself. You are there. You are there in your own image. And you're connected. A lot of things it's about yourself. Then you begin to see over time, you see the same kind of thought that is happening there. Then only you realize that how much our thought in our everyday life is directing to that part of it. How our habitual thoughts are going into it. So this is one thing that we begin to discover, and we begin to discover when we begin to realize those things. Then here the mind begin to able to reduce them in the long run. So sometimes we have lustful thoughts. Sometimes we have angry thoughts. Then you see for yourself what sort of thoughts is actually happening a lot into you. Some of us maybe when we meditate, a lot of our thoughts towards our working life, our career, our business, and so on. Then you see that how our thoughts is connected to our habitual thoughts, connected to our business, and so on. So too in our actions also in everyday life that you frequent it so much, especially like your career, like your job. When you are doing it the same thing again and again and again and again and again for the next 30, 40 years, you see how the mind is formed into that nature. If you're a teacher, a school teacher, then also after retired also you also think like a school teacher also. Or that anger is still burning inside you. Sometimes because of 30 years you've been harassed by the students, then also you'll be next by the time you retire also be like that. Get very anxiety, a lot of mental issues. So too whatever that you are doing, that in your this one. So here this habitual karma of ours, it creates a lot of strong karma and also weak karma. And you'll create strong karma, weak karma, therefore it will have effects in the future. So therefore, it is good that we are more mindful of our actions and our speech and our thoughts. Certain degree of our actions, of our speech and our thoughts, my mindfulness directed towards this, it will be very good because it helps you to safeguard, in the sense that if it's a unwholesome thoughts, your mindfulness able to acknowledge it. Then your mindfulness also will acknowledge on the other side, on the other end, is that if you see a wholesome one, then it allow for it to do more. So it will be good that we begin to recognize, and this one, it takes a lot of practice in the mindfulness. Mindfulness not only not only just vipassana, but those people who are doing just mindfulness practice, also they are more in tune with their own emotions, their thoughts, in their happiness, in their sadness, in their the way they speak, the way they act, even their gestures and so on. They are more in tune into it. And then for a longer period of time, you begin to aware all these things, and it becomes very helpful to your everyday life. It somehow or another, it makes you a better person. It makes you a more at least if you're a meditator, it gives you that great foundation. It gives you a strong foundation for your further mental development to take place. So just with that foundation will do, with a wholesome foundation, with the clear thinking, with the right speech, with the right actions, then even with that, your everyday happiness will be, in a way, is there. And also that in the next life also, when your times to die, then there's not much fear. There's not much fear. And then when the death, then at least because of the habitual karma, then there will be a higher percentage that you will think about those things that you have done, then it will lead you to a better rebirth. So this habitual karma is a very powerful karma, that how it will, in a way, determine our last thought moment. Because this last thought moment is, again, sometimes people debatable whether which one is more important, last thought moment or habitual karma. Both also is equally important. They have a different function. So even though I have a lot of habitual karma, strong habitual karma in this life also, but because we are still a putujana, still a worldling, if we are not able to have any form of enlightenment, then even a lot of you have done a lot of good deeds here, but in the past life also is still waiting, for it to ripen in your next life. Let's say in your last thought moment, when you come into a last thought moment, and this life, let's say you do a lot of dana. Every day you think about dana, nothing else. Dana this, dana that, dana that. Okay, very good, wonderful. So when it comes to your last thought moment, 80% or 90% of your last thought moment, or near death towards it, maybe 80% or 90% will be thinking about your dana, how much happiness you achieve from the giving and so on. But there's still leave 10% there. That 10% still have got this opportunity for you to ripen and bring you down into the unwholesome place of existence. That 10% or that 5% still there. That's the problem with karma. Because I read before, and even for this Elder Ananda, Reverend Ananda, in the past life, at one time he did a lot of unwholesome deeds, but the next life he reborn in a very happy existence as a human in a happy existence. In the past life he did, but when he reborn in the happy existence, then he do a lot of good deeds. But when he die, he reborn in the bad deeds. He reborn in the woeful states again. Because of the past life still waiting. All the karma still waiting. So don't underestimate. As long as you are still enlightenment, it's like a gamble. Which card are you going to put down for the next rebirth? If you got a right card, then you reborn in the better planes of existence. If not, still there. But if you're enlightened, that's a different story. If you're enlightened, then there's no woeful states anymore. Then only there will be human and above. So in this habitual karma, so it will be good that we acknowledge how you want to practice it in your everyday life is that try to take note of what you do a lot of them, how much the time that you spend. This is on your bodily actions. How much time you spend in that particular thing. And then also take note of how we speak. How we speak, what are the words that's coming out? Is the words coming out is a lot of gossiping type of words? Is there a lot of lying? Is there a lot of right speech? Take note of how we speak in our everyday life. And then take note of how we think. What sort of thinking that's going through. And that one with the thinking, it would be good that it comes with Vipassana meditation because it's helpful to acknowledge the sort of thinking, the type of thought that's going through the mind at that moment. So that will be helpful for you in this life and also in your future life. And also we hope that we practice as best as possible and then get out of this cycle of birth and rebirth. And then you don't have to worry about those unwholesome habitual karma is going to take place and take you into the woeful states. So something like this on the thing. Anything else? Let me see. Hey, hold on. Stop share. Hold on now. Let me see what else do I have. Question 2. No more. Okay, let me see any more question in the chat. No chat, no question. Okay, that's all for tonight. Nothing much for no other questions. So okay.